Suzuki tries its hand at a V-twin sport bike. Once again, cue the intro. Hey guys, I'm here with my newest friend, 2003 Suzuki SV 1000S. So they made this bike in a couple different versions. This is the 1000 and the S. They also had a more fairing version of it and then a less fairing version of it. And this actually is very similar to the more popular SV 650, which came in about $2,300 cheaper. This one was about $8,600 MSRP. And both bikes, the 1000 and the S50, both shared similar stuff like the fairings were the same, the tank were the same, the swing arm was different, and the frame was different. So yeah, half the bike was the same, the other half was different. And the engine from the SV 1000 actually was a repurposed motor that they pulled out of the late 90s TL 1000, which was their, trying to compete with Ducati, super sport V-twin. If you notice at the back, like all the big bikes did back then, I don't know why it was the thing, but every big bike had dual exhaust that weighed a ton and burned your ankles. This also has dual exhaust. Rocking a 180 rear tire, the same size rear tire that you would see on the pretty similarly powered 600 Super Sports. Now this one's pushing out about 120 horsepower and about 75 foot-pounds of torque. So a little more torque than you would see on a Super Sport 600 because of that V-twin. Now on this specific model, the forks and the suspension came out of an older model GSXR 600, which is fairly common for these bikes. Suzuki's doing the same thing. When Suzuki made the GSX-S, they used the motor out of the 2005 GSXR 1000. So weighing in at about 460 pounds, which is actually not very heavy, this bike was made to compete with the Honda Superhawk. If you guys remember the Honda Superhawk, that was also Honda's V-twin, not quite super sport bike, a lot of fun to drive, but I think they were actually a little heavier. Now, looking at this specific bike, it is incredibly rare to see, bikes from this age, 15 years old, that still look this amazing. I mean, the thing's incredible. I mean, even look at how clean and perfect the wheels are. You don't see any rust anywhere on the entire bike. Now, unlike a lot of the, naked Street Fighter bikes of today, the 1000 is actually rocking clip-on handlebars instead of the dirt bike style that would come up. So it's not as aggressive as a super sport, but it's also not as, as a current model, maybe like the FC1 or something like that. So it is still a little more aggressive. You can see how the clip-ons actually come up and try to go over the upper triple clamp. I'm not sure if I've ever ridden one of these. I'm excited to see what it runs like. Let's see if this thing runs as good as we think. Let's see if it can keep up with the 600 Super Sport. All right, guys, before we do the test drive, let's do the words of wisdom. Exodus 14:4. The Lord will fight for you while you keep silent. All right. Now, I don't know if I've ever ridden one of these. Maybe I have. I've definitely ridden the SV 650. Loved it. 7,900 miles. I mean, this thing is museum quality. I think we have it listed for $3,900, which is crazy cheap for how nice it is. Off-road. Now, characteristics of a V-twin, you're gonna see more. It's not gonna have so much of a power curve where, you hit like 6,000 RPMs and it's crazy fast, but before that it's a little slow. And then at lower RPMs, it's like nothing. This is gonna be much more grunt power pulling out of that lower RPMs. So if you're coming into a corner, maybe you're in third, you can stay in third while your buddies have to shift into second to get that power to really pull out of the corner when you just kind of like roll onto it and grunt out of it. right, so probably about 4.5 minutes. We'll have the 0 to 60. I bet I can do 0 to 60 in this in under 3. I bet I can get it in under 3, maybe 3.3. 3.3 sounds like a good 0 to 60 number that's achievable. I'm not sure what to say about the bike. Everything just feels so good. It does have a, it came from factory with a steering dampener. Now, not all the years had the older GSXR 600 forks. I think the newer ones and some of the different models didn't. Some had ones that you can't really adjust. They were much cheaper forks. They were trying to keep the price down. It would make sense that you would want the better ones. They're better ones, more adjustable ones. And then also, I'm not sure about the brakes. I'm not sure if they used different brakes or they kept the same brakes on it. Now, Suzuki also had another bike at the same time called the Suzuki Bandit. And it was same type of, you know, naked, street fighter, not quite super sport type of bike. But the difference with that, and I think that came in a 1200. And then they came in a 650, I don't know, I forget. That was an inline 4. It's interesting to ride the different bikes and to feel them different, you know, to feel the different way, the power. You could have an inline 4 and a V-twin with the exact same power. Most likely the V-twin would have a little bit more torque, but you got the two bikes with the exact same power. That bird almost hit me. And they're completely different bikes. They're so different, and different people like, you know, different people prefer different things. A lot of it's kind of what you learned on and what you feel comfortable with. But I like going back and forth. I like switching. I'm very comfortable with the import inline 4 and that power band. It feels great, but I'm also comfortable with a V-twin and that low end torque. They didn't start putting gear indicators on here for a little while. I think gear indicators are great. Sometimes you just forget what gear you're in. I want to stop by there and see what's going on. It's got good power pretty much anywhere where you're at. I know this is a controversial, somehow this is a controversial point of view. I'm happy with the stock pipes. I'm cool to not really hear the bike until I floor it. Because when I'm just cruising and I'm not trying to get in on it, I mean, this is fine. Okay, you might get a couple more horsepower out of aftermarket pipes. You might the biggest difference is you lose weight. If you took these from 2 to 1, you're probably going to lose maybe close to 40 pounds, which is a pretty big deal. So I could see that as being a benefit. But just to make it louder, I couldn't care less. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it nice and quiet. Now on a V-twin bike like this, I'm not going to take the RPMs very high at all. There, now. I could have done a better job. I don't think I even floored it in first gear at all. This is when it's nice that you have a motorcycle that can get you out of situations. It's questionably safe. It's questionably not safe of whether you should be riding next to big trucks. But sometimes you got big trucks on both sides of the lane and they're just kind of all around you. Either brake to get out of them or, you know, accelerate to get away. And you never want to drive right next to a big truck. You've seen Mythbusters, a tire blows out, shooting pieces all over the place. And of course, this is not the most comfortable bike on the highway, but it is more comfortable than a Super Sport. And the way it's geared, this thing has a top speed of 148 miles an hour. So if you need to cruise at 70 miles an hour, you got plenty. you're gonna be all right. If you need to pass somebody, don't even downshift, just roll on that throttle. Beautiful day to be riding a motorcycle. And these are really, really fun bikes, really unique. All right, guys, that wraps it up. Remember, it's not what you're riding, but where you're going. This bike is for sale at Srkcycles.com. Just go check out the website, see if it's still available, and check out our other stuff. If you're wondering what kind of gloves I'm wearing, these are the M1 Moto 507s. These are the sport bike gloves. I wear them for sport bikes and street fighter bikes and bikes like this and anything other than a cruiser bike. It's got the hard knuckles, it's lined with super fabric. Incredibly durable, but they're also, the way they're made is, it feels like you're not even wearing a glove. Just like Flanders. Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. All right, guys, that wraps it up. Remember, it's not what you're riding, but where you're going.